Good morning and thank you for being with us. This is Khalil Hashim with US Arab Radio. We have a great show for you today. We're going to start with the Middle East. President Trump announced an American-Israeli plan to end the war in Gaza without talking to the Palestinians. His plan includes exchanging of hostages and prisoners and a phased withdrawal out of Gaza. With us this morning is Said Arikat, the Washington bureau chief of the Al-Quds daily newspaper, a longtime Washington-based Palestinian journalist and analyst, and an accomplished media and public affairs specialist. Good morning, and thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Um, Said, we've seen this movie before. The United States and Israel say we're going to do something that it's difficult to accept and blame it on the Palestinians after all if it doesn't work out. Is this another episode of that, or is there anything else that might happen out of this?
I I'm afraid to say that it is really just another episode of what we have seen in the past. As you say, we've seen this movie before. Since the war began, the United States of America could have ended that war in 24 hours or in a week or whatever. The Biden administration, of course, never raised the issue of a ceasefire. I mean, they kept saying we're negotiating, but they never asked or pressured Israel to accept a ceasefire until the very end, when Trump was elected and so on. And Trump's men, who are very close friends with Netanyahu, like Steve Witkoff, and of course his Trump's son-in-law Jared Kushner, and Adam Bowler. I mean, all these people were very close to Netanyahu, and they basically told him, "Look, give the president a pass. Let's have a ceasefire, and then you can break it anytime you want to." And so we saw them break it after 2 months, on March 18th for no reason. It was effected or was effectuated on January 19 and ended in the early morning of 18 of March. So look, I mean, we've seen it before. We have seen the president says, it's right there. We're almost there. This is a new proposal and so on, only to see it basically kicked, kicked away or thrown out by Netanyahu.
Yeah. Last time they did that, it was more of a ploy to trap the Palestinian negotiators. And that's what happened in Qatar. Are you seeing something similar now?
I don't know. For sure, well, it seemed like a trap because we know that the American president submitted that proposal on September 5, on Friday. Yeah, and he said Saturday that this is going to be, take it or leave it. I gave it to them and so on. Hamas and the Qataris, the mediators, said, yeah, we'll look at it very seriously. He asked that they all meet in Qatar, all the leadership. He asked for that. The administration asked for that, and they sure did. And then they were struck. I think it's by, a stroke of luck that they were not killed. But the intent was there. The United States of America has a huge base. I've seen that base. It's a huge in Qatar, and it has the most amazing assets, interception assets, and so on, that they could have shot these missiles down if they wanted to, as they did with the Iranian missiles from the same base. But they chose not to because really they had hoped that they would assassinate Al-Hayy, and that would give Netanyahu some sort of a victory. So what we see now is something else. I mean, that is basically the same thing, just warmed over. I mean, between the two proposals, between the 5th and the 29th, is not a long time. I mean, we're talking about 3 weeks only. Nothing has changed. They keep changing, moving the goalposts. Netanyahu does. Now they want to basically reintroduce the British mandate with Tony Blair as the viceroy of Gaza and so on. I mean, some ridiculous ideas and so on.
Satan wasn't available. They called on Tony Blair.
I'm sorry?
I said Satan wasn't available. They called on Tony Blair.
I guess so.
This is the
Yeah.
guy who took
So
us to war
it
in
is very
Iraq.
much. It's I know. I know what you're saying. So Tony Blair, a guy that lied about Iraq and so on, a man who is basically has no scruples whatsoever. I mean, I don't know him, but I have seen him speak in places and so on, and he's just unscrupulous, money grabber kind of guy, and that's what he's doing. I mean, this war has made a lot of people rich, by the way. The killing of our people in Gaza has made a lot of people rich, and the GHF people, the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, others, and so on, have enriched themselves out of the misery of the Palestinians. And Tony
Who's
Blair is
paying?
looking
Who's
to do
paying
the
for
same
that,
thing.
Said? Who's paying for that?
Well, that's a very good question. Nobody knows who is paying for the GHF, the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. Now, we were told time and again that the United States of America committed $30 million. That was way back right when it was launched in May. And then, a month later, they said, oh, we put in the pipeline $15 million. And we are waiting to approve another $15 million that has been approved. So the slated amount is $30 million. And then the president keeps saying $60 million, although the State Department keeps correcting him and say it's only $30 million. So we don't know who's paying for this. I think Israel is making a lot of money, private contractors and so on. But for sure, it is done and conducted and organized based on ill will toward the Palestinians. It has turned into a death trap. I mean, I don't want to divert from what we are talking about, the essence,
Sure,
but
sure, sure, sure.
I mean that is a horrific thing
Yeah.
to basically have four centers, four distribution centers, to replace 400 distribution centers. It's amazing. They have these guys, and in fact, Aguilar, who was an official, he
Yeah.
said they were killing people on purpose.
Yeah.
He's been going around the country saying the same thing,
Yeah.
showing evidence. Others have come forward.
Yeah.
So we know that the intent really is to trap Palestinians, to kill them, maim them, and most of all, ethnically cleanse them.
Yeah. Mr. Netanyahu did not commit himself to anything, not to withdrawal, not to for a Palestinian state, nothing. I mean, I expect that nothing would happen with this.
Yes, Netanyahu, remember, I mean, Netanyahu is a war criminal. He's been designated as such by the ICC, the International Criminal Court. So he's been designated by them as a war criminal. So he's always, he never tells the truth. That's what his people say. They say that he never tells the truth. He's kicking the can so he can stay in power until the next election. His most important thing or goal is to basically maintain his right-wing extremist coalition, Smotrich and Ben Gvir and so on. That's all he cares about. So he's not going to commit to anything. I mean, now he says no Hamas, no Palestinian Authority. The Palestinian Authority has been actually serving the Israeli occupation quite well. So I don't expect anything will come out of it. Now, of course, Mr. Netanyahu sees the fact on the ground that they have not been able to achieve the goal stated. It is despite what he keeps saying day after day. They have not managed to free the hostages as they wanted to, because the only way to get the hostages home is basically to have a negotiated agreement with Hamas. Second, he's not going to destroy Hamas. I mean, this is unimaginable, and Palestinians have been fighting this Zionist project all their life, for the better part
70
of
years or so.
100, more so since since 1924. So it's been 100 years, and they're not going to give up on their land. They have nowhere to go. I mean, they have no place else to go. You could kill them, you could destroy them, but who's going to accept them? To begin with, you have 2 million people in Gaza. You have close to 4 million people in the West Bank. We have 500,000, close to 500,000 people in East Jerusalem and the old city and so on. And the Palestinians are just not going to leave. You can come up with all kinds of things. You can, Trump said that he will not agree to annexation of areas that are under the authority of the Palestinian Authority. But 60% of the
He'll
West
change his
Bank.
mind tomorrow.
Right, but 60% of the West Bank is basically Area C, which is, under the total control of the Israelis. So
Exactly.
obviously, I mean, and he didn't elaborate, he didn't say, but I think he was saying that not the area that is under PA control, but the other areas may be flexible there.
Yeah, yeah. What's next? What's gonna happen next? Any idea?
Well, I mean, unlike everybody else, we hope against hope that a ceasefire will take place, simply to basically stop this killing. I mean, this genocide. It's no other way to describe it. It's a genocide. It's been termed as such by all the scholars that are actually are expert and have the proper expertise and documentation that this is a genocide that is expanding every day, that's becoming larger and larger, that there's no food, no water. So we want the salvation of our people. That is definitely the wish of every Palestinian. We want to see it end. But, I mean, the Palestinians are not going to basically surrender in the end and give up their rights. So I don't know. I fear that this slaughter of the Palestinians will go on.
Continue. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Will
yeah,
continue
yeah.
because let me remind you, Steve Witkoff, when he met with Blair at the White House, when they talked about Gaza Riviera project, whatever it is, he said that maybe by the end of the year. So we don't know. At least we have like a calendar date or calendar deadline,
We
which is the
hope
end
so.
of the year. We shall
We hope
see.
sooner, actually.
Yeah, of course, of
Yeah,
course.
yeah, yeah. So I really want to thank you for taking the time to be with us. I know you have a very busy schedule.
Uh,
Said Arikat, the Washington
Thank you.
bureau
I
chief of the
appreciate it. Thank
Al-Quds
you.
Daily newspaper. Thank
Thank
you
you,
so
sir.
much. I really
Thank you,
appreciate
sir.
it. Yeah.
Anytime.